I'm a shotgun fanatic. Honestly, I love shotguns in Warframe, and when the Corinth Prime came out, I had mixed feelings on it, simply because they changed some key aspects from the regular Corinth. Fast forward to 2021, and we got Galvanized Mods, which add a whole lot of power to primary weapons, so it's finally time to revisit the Corinth Prime. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and I got a couple of builds laid up. Something cheap, something affordable that newer Tenno or more casual Tenno coming into Warframe can look forward to, but of course we also got the Endgame set up with Prime mods, Galvanized mods, a Riven, going to Steel Path, Warframe buffs, whatever you name it, we got it. That said though, please bear in mind that my builds and guides usually focus on a more new player friendly tone, simply because there's a lot of info here and I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. So in case you're a vet and you already know most of this stuff, you can either skip ahead or have a bit of patience. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Corinth Prime. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped. And for that, just a couple of free shots. The Corinth Prime is a semi-automatic primary shotgun with two fire modes. In primary fire mode, it's pretty self-explained. You got a hit scan, attack, which is gonna be putting a whole lot of pellets into your targets. And the fire rate is, well, decent at best. The reload on this one is on the lengthy side. Have a look. I would like to point out that on the regular Corinth, you got shot-by-shot turntable style. Now, you do have a secondary fire mode as well. In secondary fire mode, you're going to be consuming 4 ammo and releasing a projectile. Take a look. Now, that projectile can make contact with a target and deal a little bit of damage, but what you're supposed to be doing is reactivating your secondary fire mode and detonating that projectile for an absolutely huge explosion. How huge? 9.8 meters. But before you get all happy about it, the fall off is 90%. Yeah, so basically, you're only really going to get that big 2200 base damage at the epicenter of the explosion. What about recoil? Recoil on a shotgun? You gotta be kidding me. Yes, there's a lot of recoil. Tons of recoil. But here's the thing. This would be maximum rate of fire with no mods. You see that? The recoil aligns perfectly to the aiming of the weapon. You see that? So you're not really gonna have any issues whatsoever. Honestly, for what it is, a shotgun, from my point of view, it is pretty accurate. And yes, the shots will make the usual star formation. And I think that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to complain in terms of usability here, if we bear in mind this is a shotgun. Healthy magazine, long reload, could be better. Mod capacity, 60 out of 60. And if your comes with only 30 out of 30, jump into actions and plug in that Orokin catalyst. Is it worth it on the Corinth Prime? I gotta say yes. It's an interesting weapon, it's a subjectively beautiful weapon, and it can handle most content that Warframe can throw at you. I would unlock the weapon arcane slot, definitely. Basically, this is more power, 100% recommend. Which one should you go for? Well, it's simple. If you're gonna be using it in tandem with your melee weapon, primary dexterity is a no-brainer. If you're gonna be using a slash vital build because this is a primary critical weapon, then primary merciless, since some of your targets are gonna be dying under the effect of slash. This one grants you the benefit. If not, however, if you prefer a more brute strength approach, raw damage and all that good stuff, primary deadhead can definitely serve you well. So there you go, them's the options. In the weapon excellence slot, well, on this one, I would advise fatal acceleration, but with a caveat. And of course, if you get galvanized acceleration, that is just simply flat out better. The thing about fatal acceleration, while it does increase the fall off of the weapon, of the buckshot, the primary fire mode, which is useful. You saw the accuracy, right? From 15 meters, there's no problem whatsoever. So getting more fall off is definitely a good thing. It's gonna make it harder to land precise airburst, and you need to be precise about the bloody thing because of the fall off. So it's a bit of a give and take. If you're gonna be building the weapon for airburst, then forget about fatal acceleration. If not, go for it. There you go. Critical chance, primary fire mode has sky high 30% base and a 2.8x critical multiplier, which is fantastic. Fall off 18 to 36 by default is not super awesome, but again, you do have the option of fatal acceleration. And again, the accuracy of the weapon does support a greater fall off. Fire rate is bad. Yeah, it's low fire rate, 1.42. But you are encouraged to go shot by shot given the power per shot. Magazine of 20, but again, when you're doing airburst, you're consuming 4 per shot. Multi-shot of 6 by default. This represents the number of little pellets fired out of the gun with no additional multi-shot, noise alarming, shotgun, and the reload 3 seconds. That's an issue. that's honestly an actual gameplay when you're reloading a weapon like the Arcaplasmor or the Corinth and it's taking forever. It does tend to annoy sometimes, so you do have an option. For example, you can go for something like Chilling Reload, 60% cold, that can work into viral, and 40% reload speed, bringing it down to 2.1. Let's talk Riven mods. You guys love Rivens? Yay? No, I know. 3 out of 5. That's good. That is not bad at all. I got 3 fantastic Rivens, which I've been testing for the past couple of days. And yes, definitely, Riven mods do make a difference on the Corinth Prime. I would suggest, if you can, go for one. Status per projectile is going to be 9%, which again is not bad at all. As for the damage, by default, you're looking at 540. Not bad. Impact, puncture, and slash, with puncture being the highest. Now, the proc we get from puncture isn't really all that's cracked up to be, but puncture, on the other hand, bear in mind, deals 50% more damage to heavily armored targets. That's just simply how Warframe works, so it's a good element to have. In the past, I used to complain about impact, but not anymore because of mods such as Galvanized Savvy for obvious reasons. Let's move into Airburst. Airburst got bad critical stats. It's as simple as that. 4% base with a 1.6x critical multiplier. Now, I could live with a 4% base critical chance, but the 1.6x critical multiplier basically kills any hope of us making a critical Airburst build. You know why? Even if you are going to be getting bonus critical effects additive after, such as Kavad buff, Harrow, Arcane Avenger, you're still let down about that low multiplier. So do bear that one in mind. If you want to build Airburst, you gotta build it for damage, multi-shot, and maybe status chance. That's kind of it. And the rest would be usability. Status chance 50%, which is sky high. Again, the same reload, same magazine, but effectively you're gonna be getting 4 shots. Oh no, 5 shots. 5 times 4. And the damage. Now, this might be a little bit confusing. This little 100% impact is the projectile physically making contact with a target, which is why I demonstrated that, and this 2200 is the big bada boom explosion with the 90% fall off and the 9.8 meter range. And with that out of the way, let's check out a standard build. Damage at point blank, multi-shot with health chamber and vigilante armaments, critical chance, critical damage through the use of critical deceleration, 200%, mwah, beautiful, and shrapnel shot. Now, of course, you have options when it comes to critical mods. You can go for something like blunderbuss, 90%. Stop it, D. Stop it. Come on, Prime Blunderbuss. Everybody's been asking for this for years. I barely started playing Warframe and people were already asking for this one. Can we please have it already? Pretty please with Sugar Sober on top. Now, Shrapnel Shot is 100% critical damage. Fine, 99%. If you go for the Standard Ravage, where the hell is the Standard Ravage, which is also equally bad? Look at this, 60%. That's just bad. That's just simply not enough. Oh, you got Prime Ravage? Fantastic. Go for this one and forget about it. Though do bear in mind, there's a very small difference between Prime Ravage with all the drain it's got and Shrapnel Shot. Granted, this one is on kill and when aiming, but still, you're basically right there. This is what I would recommend in terms of critical mods. One last thing which I do want to point out. You see that, right? You can't have critical deceleration and blunderbuss at the exact same time, but you can have laser sight. Now, this one on headshot plus 120% critical chance when aiming for 9 seconds, and considering we don't have a galvanized version for primaries, you can go for something like this. I also got 260-60 mods. Shocker, surprise, I know. Shell Shock and Toxic Barrage, because initially we're gonna go for a corrosive setup. Toxic Barrage is easily farmed from the Void, but Shell Shock, unfortunately, it is farmable. The mission is called Niglar on the planet Eris. You gotta find all the secret caches, and then you got a 5% chance at this one, or High Voltage, which is the primary version. Obviously, this build, and what I'm talking about right now, is aimed at newer players coming into Warframe that don't have Galvanized this, that, Prime this, that, a million Rivens and all whatnot. If you're just starting out in Warframe, or you're more newer, I don't know, you're MR10, 15, something like that, and you don't have all the mods just yet, look for something like this to get a feel for the weapon. And as you progress as a Tenno, don't worry, we'll be waiting for you on the other side. You can get the more powerful mods and slot them in. Spoiler alert, there's nothing on the other side. Now, the keen observer has noticed that, hey, there's still one mod to be put in, because you have a whole lot of options when it comes to shotguns. We have so many powerful mods. You want to go flat damage? Because up until level 150, 200, you should go for flat damage. Blaze. Look at the blaze, 60% damage, 60% heat, mwah, mwah, mwah. Especially considering that nowadays heat is the most powerful single elemental in Warframe. That's one option you should go. What if you want more corrosive, simply because you want more corrosive fishes in your spread? 90% damage with 60% spread, the same amount as point blank. Now you do get the extra spread, but do you care? On a shotgun. If you don't care, 100% go for this one. And if you still don't know how to farm corrupted mods such as Vicious Spread and Critical Deceleration, I got just the thing for you. Link in the cards right now for a full and detailed guide on that. Another option would be simply to go for more 60-60 mods with Scattering Inferno. Basically, I'm still getting the heat. I'm getting a little bit more of status chance. Now, I'm going to be shooting Corrupted Heavy Goons. So in my case in particular, either Blaze or Vicious Spread is going to do the job. So we're going to be testing the weapon out like so initially. Then we're going to switch to Mumu Viral and all whatnot. Nothing on my Harrows, the skew the test results, no companion, nothing of the sort. We're going to be spawning in the Corrupted Heavy Goons level 120. Now I'm gonna be real with you guys. It takes about 2 shots after you get the critical damage from shrapnel shot, right? So 1, 2, 3. Got my shrapnel shot damage, headshot damage, and as you can see, with 2 shots, you can kill a level 120 corrupted heavy goon, give or take. Is that enough for you? Is this performance enough for you or not? That's the question. Now, if I was to use air burst, allow me to show you. I'm gonna try to get it as center as possible. The damage is there. But without anything else other than raw damage, the mitigation from the armor of these corrupted heavy goons kick in. And it's simply not really gonna do all that much. Oh, your armors are not heavily your targets are not heavily armored, for example, let's say the corpus, then definitely airburst can clean house, no problem whatsoever. But for heavy duty targets, it's simply not gonna be doing all that well, because all it has, it's damage and some status chance. You know, I seen some builds, they use airburst as a primer for their melee, right? They add a whole lot of statuses, a whole lot of status chance, they prime the targets because it does have a big range, and then they come in with melee, condition overload, all of that good stuff. So it definitely has its uses, but I can't bring myself to build the Corinth Prime, the goddamn Corinth Prime, look at it, as a primer. That is simply something which I do not want to do. So one more time, the regular buckshot test. These are the limitations of raw damage in Warframe. Okay, you will get heavy duty limitations when it comes to that, because there's a whole lot of damage mitigation. And the more you go up in level, let's say not 120, 160, that's a small difference, but let's say 3000, 5000, then you're gonna see a whole lot more mitigation and a whole lot more damage from your targets as well. This is what you can expect out of a corrosive setup. Now, let's change it up a little bit. Let's go Hunter Munitions Viral, right? That's what most people play, but keep in mind, if you're going down to Deimos, do not go with Viral. Most targets are immune to Viral. Go with Corrosive instead. Corrosive Heat. Yeah, Corrosive Heat, definitely not a bad idea. Now, if I was to change things up just a little bit, all I gotta do is drop Shell Shock. I gotta go with the Cold 60-60 mod that you fantastic people can get it from Spy Missions. Now, Chilling Reload is an option. Okay, granted, you don't get as much status chance, but you do increase the weapon's usability. It'll make it feel better from mission to mission, right? Chilling Reload is obtained from Nightmare missions, and if you're newer to Warframe, they're not really all that nightmare-y. They're quite doable, normally, that is. And of course, we're going to be needing Hunter of the Munitions as well. You can replace Vicious Spread or your option slot or Vigilante Armaments. I like the extra multi-shot. I'm a multi-shot fanatic, so we're going to go like this. 2.1 seconds on my reload, which is a whole lot more usable. It's simple to work out a mathematical spreadsheet and see what's the best damage, theoretically. But when it comes to actual gameplay, you gotta keep in mind that usability sometimes trumps the whole thing. We got Vital Procs, we got Slash on the target, and now we got Shrapnel Shock, right? So we are gonna need at least one from that. Take a look at the Slashes, 15,000, absolutely annihilating that Corrupted Heavy Goon. Can you get a one-shot? Yeah! Can you see right now, why isn't this consistently getting a one-shot? Can I get an answer? Is this a one-shot? Take a look. The problem is the viral procs, right? The viral is simply not all that consistent to get one-shots every single time. Now, as you can see, one-shots are not a rarity, but again, the problem is the viral proc. If I go for the 60-60 cold mod, I am gonna be getting more vital procs than with Chilling Reload, because that one increases my status chance, yes? So automatically, I am going to be getting more. So it's a proposition. What do you prefer? More consistent damage or more usability? For my 2 cents, I would suggest you try both in actual gameplay and see which one you prefer. Of course, you can also drop the multi-shot and add the 60/60 cold mod there with no problem whatsoever. And this concludes the casual player portion of the build, or the more newer player. Let's talk endgame setup, right? Take a look at this. Now, this is how I enjoy playing with the Corinth Prime. I like to go for corrosive, I like the big bada boom damage, but as mentioned before, big bada boom damage does kind of cap out at a certain level of enemies. Nothing that you normally see in Warframe. I mean, this is fine up until level 200, 250-ish. And of course we got Prime Point Blank, Prime Ravage, Prime Charge Shell, Toxic Barrage, Galvanized Savvy, Galvanized Hell, Critical Deceleration, and this fantastic Ribbon right here. Now, I see a lot of you guys telling me, listen, I don't have a Ribbon, can you showcase stuff without a Ribbon? So we're going to be doing this. These are all mods that everybody can get outside of the Ribbon, right? And I'll showcase the Ribbon just a tad later. Instead of it, I'm going to put a 60/60 heat mod, right? Something that is roughly easily obtained, like so, right? Scattering Inferno, that means on my weapon, what do I got? I got Corrosive, Heat, I got Savvy, Hell, I got Primary Deadhead. Since this is a raw damage approach, I'm going to go for headshots. And I also got Galvanized Acceleration as well. Now let's see the difference in performance. Level 120, Corrupted Heavy Goons. I got a kill, that means now my Galvanized build is in full swing. One shots every time. As soon as you get that first stack from your Galvanized mods, it's gonna be one shots every time. And it's not just on level 120s, let's go 160s. I would spawn higher in the simulacrum, I would spawn endurance run level enemies, but he doesn't allow me for some reason, so I can, so there you go. 160s. Still the same one shot as before. But what can Airburst do with a build such as this? Well, have a look. I still have all of my stacks up. I'm gonna try to detonate right in the middle, and that was actually a pretty good detonation, and the amount of damage is significant. Take a look at that. Already got, what is that, 6 fatalities, no problem whatsoever. So Airburst definitely works. It basically cleaned level 160 Corrupted Heavy Goons. What kind of a difference can a Riven make on something like this? Well, I got this one. Critical chance, critical damage, heat, and minus impact. It's important for me to keep the heat when it comes to the buckshot because of Galvanized Savvy and obvious reasons. On the other hand, it takes away the impact. In taking away the impact, I know once upon a time we loved this because no more impact, no more knockback, no more annoying knockback, more importantly. But nowadays, minus impact on a Riven simply means one less element for me to proc the extra damage from Galvanized Savvy, so it's not exactly fantastic. However, even without the minus impact, you're only gonna see impact procs on your targets once every 5 to 6 shots, something like that, simply because impact has a very low value on the weapon. So do bear that one in mind. You're not gonna see any actual difference in gameplay. It's as simple as that. A Riven does make a difference. I would recommend damage multi-shot critical damage if you're going for normal content. If not, you can drop the raw damage. Right, then you can just simply go for multi-shot, perhaps even an element, and some critical damage. Now let's hop on over to Steel Path and see how the weapon does in a regular Steel Path mission. And I shall be exterminating these targets with great prejudice, just so I can show off what the Corinth Prime can realistically do. Oh, that's a Corrupted Heavy Goon! There he goes. Level 130-ish Steel Path with the modifiers, with everything. So tell me, my friends, is this enough performance for you? Honestly, I read through the comments because I'm curious, what do you guys think on a weapon's strength level? Take a look at that explosion cleaning out the core pipe, but the Corrupted Heavy Goon, which has armor on, basically never really got touched all that much. That's the problem with mitigation, or the aspect of mitigation. Is this enough power, my friends? Or do you require more? Oh, look, there's the capture target. You can just simply walk in and shoot him into the face, and he's gone. As so. For me, I don't really need any more power than this. I mean, it one-shot stuff. I don't really have much of an issue with it. I have the AoEs like so, which I can blow up multiple targets at once. And you know what? It's satisfying. It is what it is. It is a satisfying weapon to use. I will admit to enjoying the regular Corinth a bit more than this one. I simply grew accustomed, perhaps, to the turn-by-turn style. But there's no denying that the Corinth Prime definitely packs one hell of a punch, and it's definitely a weapon worth building. Now back to the simulacrum. I still have one more thing which I want to show you. Warframe buffs with the ever so lovely Lady Mirage Prime. Now when it comes to actual Warframe buffs against heavily armored targets, corrosive projection is definitely the way to go. But don't feel forced into this one, it's not 100% needed. You can go for whatever aura your Warframe build calls for. For example, shield disruption, rejuvenation, energy siphon, or whatever else. Focus more on getting the arcanes that you need. These are a lot more impactful. Arcane Avenger R5, farm from the third Eidolon down on Cetus. On damage, a 21% chance for plus 45% critical chance for 12 seconds. Bonus additive after, simply stacking on top of what you already have. It's gonna help the air burst as well. Definitely keep in mind that low base multiplier, however. And if you want even more raw damage, go with Arcane Rage. Now, this is 100%, 180% damage to primary weapons for 24 seconds. It's on headshot, so it definitely works with a raw strength approach. So do bear that one in mind. Honestly, the second arcane usually should be reserved for your Warframe build, your Energize, your armor, or your shields, whatever else you guys prefer. There's two Sentinel tricks which you can pull off. You can either go for the Sentinel weapon trick. On that Sentinel's weapon, make sure you have the Vigilante mods, offense, supplies, fervor, and armaments for the 20% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. It's a good option to have, but if you're gonna be building corrosive, like I build corrosive, go with the Panzer Vulpaphyla if you have it yet. If not, go down to Deimos and get one. This will be applying viral to your targets, which is definitely huge. So do bear that one in mind. It's not 100% reliable 100% of the time, but there you go. So we're going to be activating Empower for Mirage and her free ability for an absolutely outstanding Eclipse buff. And one more time for her ever so lovely clones. I can kill him with Air Burst. They're gone. He strayed from the pack, and now he gone as well. No, I don't know what the thing that flew... You know what the thing that flew off was? The Vulpaphyla casted the thing with the viral thing, I think. It might be it, that whole projectile. So, when you're dealing with this much raw damage, even high-level targets such as these will fall to pieces. That one was like on 1%. And of course, going for your regular buckshot will guarantee you your one-shot, even with body shot, so you don't need to rely on the headshot multiplier either. Oh, by the way, if you're still unclear on how critical chance and critical damage legitimately works in Warframe and how these multipliers actually apply, haha, like the cards right now. As for the Corinth Prime, I love this weapon. Honestly, it looks amazing, it sounds amazing, it plays amazing. Okay, granted, it does have some slight usability issues, and I wish they didn't change so much of it from the regular to the Prime, but hey, nobody is perfect, and neither is the Corinth Prime. Or is it nothing is perfect? Nothing is perfect, neither is the Corinth Prime. I still 100% fully recommend this glorious shotgun. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And if you got any sorts of feedback for me, I would love to read it in the comment section down below. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. And if you love the content, hey, consider supporting us via Patreon. Link in the cards right now. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.